Hello, welcome back to What Are We Gonna Believe Now? So, of course, I'm sitting here with my partner, Adrian, the scientific mystic, and me, myself, abstract oracle Nukiva. So, today we're going to be talking about being deliberate. And I'm going to let you take it from here.
Okay.
And I'll follow your lead.
All right. So, being deliberate, it's something that's not discussed very much.
It really isn't.
When it comes to how you conduct your life. And first off, we'll start with the definition from the Free Dictionary Online is it's done with or marked by full consciousness of the nature and effects. Also, intentional. So when we're talking about being deliberate, it's the marriage between what you're going to be doing, your action, and the why you are doing your action, right? So when you think about having purpose, which purpose is the word of the day, when you have a purpose, the purpose is the reason for which you are doing something or creating a thing.
Right.
Right. So when you think about being deliberate, you think about having your actions line up very tightly with your reasons. So why are you doing this thing? Why is it important to be deliberate, right?
Yes.
First off,
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, like why is it important to be deliberate? Well, one of the reasons why is because in this world we're so used to seeing people who do actions. They make a decision, a choice, and an action, and then the results are not what they expect or want, and there's a lot of frustration that comes from that. The World Health Organization just recently announced that depression is one of the most widespread diseases on the planet now.
Wow.
And I can tell you that not being deliberate probably is linking very closely to why there's such a rise in depression across the globe.
Yeah, because I remember reading, not even reading, someone talking about it, and we were talking about depression, and depression is actually like a form of suppressed anger.
Yes.
So that suppressed anger comes from you not deliberately choosing your task. And so that makes perfect sense.
And choosing your path. So we talk about why it's important, right? It's important because it helps you to focus on your purpose, right? So being deliberate is, first off, you have to be aware enough to create or define a purpose. Now, we can talk about your life purpose, or we can talk about just the purpose for what you need to do today, or even just one simple task. Being deliberate is also, it's a tool. Definitely. It's a tool so that you can change your behaviors. You can add in new behaviors, and you can completely eliminate behaviors by being deliberate.
Yes.
Right? So if there's a thing you don't like doing, being deliberate at other things will help you to stop the behavior you don't want, right?
Yes.
So more about purpose, right? Purpose, first of all, requires awareness. We've got other videos about awareness. Feel free to check them out. They're
Please.
here on our channel. Being aware of yourself and the situations that you find yourself in allow you to be deliberate or to deliberate, which means to think and to consider so that you can make the best decision going forward towards your purpose, whatever that purpose might be.
And what I just thought about, like, how we love to do word things.
Yes.
So I thought about taking the D and liberate. It's like, making that the of liberation.
Yeah, a freedom.
It's the freedom that comes along with being deliberate and knowing I'm doing this and I'm not being influenced by something outside of myself, and I'm the cause of this.
Absolutely. I'm the cause of it, and therefore this is a choice that's fully conscious and on my behalf. Some other things about being deliberate. So how do you know if you're being deliberate? Like, I think it would be hard to feel that out, especially if you don't have practice in being deliberate.
Yes.
And most of us don't. As much as we would like to think that we do, most of the things that we do, from career choice, even mate choice, just all the things that we're doing are informed and brought to us through conditioning. So the greater society in which we live, the family we find ourselves in, those are the ways that we are, at this point, for the most part, making all of our choices unconsciously and without deliberation. Mm-hmm. We don't really think about it. You know, I do this because my mother did that. There was a funny story online about a family holiday dish that was prepared in a very strange way. And when someone asked the cook why they did it that way, well, my mom did it that way. So they go to the mom and say, Mom, why did you do it this way? Well, my mom did it this way. And they go to the grandmother, and grandma's like, well, we did it that way because we didn't have the resources to do it the right way. So a lot of times, by not deliberating, by not applying additional thought to just the stuff that we do on our everyday basis, we're finding ourselves giving up control of how we conduct our lives. We're giving it up to conditioning. Mm-hmm. So how do you know if you're being deliberate?
Right. It's so funny that you mentioned that story, because I have a similar experience.
Oh, yeah.
Where a friend and I were talking on the phone, mm-hmm. and she was Seventh-day Adventist, and mm-hmm. so I don't know how we got to the topic, but I asked her, like, well, why did you choose that?
Right.
You know, because there's so many different other religions and things
yeah.
like that. And she was like, oh, well, because my mom, and, that's our tradition, my grandmother, so same kind of thing. But I remember asking her, like, well, how do you know that that's what you like if you've never tried anything else?
Right.
So you might find yourself wanting to be Jewish.
Yeah.
And practice the Kabbalah or
yeah.
whatever. It's like, but we have this habit, like you said, of just following along. Well, this is the tradition, or everybody does this, so I'm supposed to do it too.
And that actually belies way more consciousness than the way we do most of the things we do. Mm-hmm. So that level of consciousness, to even bring it up and talk about it, you have so many behaviors, we all do, that we're doing in such a way based on how we were conditioned. Mm-hmm. So in those cases, you can definitely say, if this is something that you were taught as a child, or it was given to you and you did not generate it yourself, you did not create this ideal for yourself, you did not come up with the purpose, the why are you doing this, but also the details of it. Because sometimes we've been given processes to follow that maybe give us the desired end result, but they're pretty inefficient. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a better way to do it. So when you're deliberate, it actually helps to get you in tune with ways to become, much more efficient, or do things in a way that fit you better.
Right.
As opposed to the way someone else showed you. I work with, I have another partner, and he's a man. He has huge hands, right? And it's funny because we were doing some work together, and he was showing me how to do a thing, and I have pretty small hands, and I had to let him know, like, I've thought about this, and I can't do it the way you do it, because my hands are, they're small, and I don't have as much strength, so it doesn't fit me to do it the way you do it. Right. However, because I know the purpose, the why, I can arrive at the same result, but I'll do it a different way, and I will deliberately make it so that it's something that fits my physical stature and even my mental stature. Like, if there's a way that you think that's different than someone else, it's absolutely possible that you're going to be able to come out with a similar result, but doing it a different way.
Right.
So being deliberate actually pulls you into your individuality, the way you work.
Exactly. That's where that liberation. It liberates you from the group and allows you to do it your way, which is fine. And yes, it's free, being free. And that's the perfect way to actually get your purpose and your intentions done.
Absolutely.
Is because now you know I'm doing this because I want to get this result.
Yeah, absolutely. So, ways that you can figure out if you're being deliberate. One, you decided.
Ask yourself questions.
Mm-hmm.
That will definitely help, and I think that that's something that we sometimes kind of glance over.
Yeah.
Because we have like, what is it, like 14,000 thoughts per second?
Yeah,
or
something
like
ridiculous.
something crazy like that.
Something is
And
so
it's like,
unmanageable.
right, like really? So we're not even thinking deliberately. So if we could start there, like, okay, I'm going to make a choice. I'm going to make a decision about this. I'm going to decide how I proceed.
Mm-hmm.
So that deciding is really going to help you feel more comfortable with what you're doing and make your task easier because you know what works for you.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, we could, like you were saying, we both could be doing the same thing. I have to do it this way.
Yes.
And you do it this way. That's same thing as if you were left-handed, I'm right-handed. We're still doing the same thing.
Yeah, we're still
We're
writing.
just using different sides of our bodies to create the same thing.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's going to look different.
Right.
And that's fine because when you're being deliberate, not to say that every time you're being deliberate, it's going to look completely different than what everyone else is doing. But if you're being deliberate, it's going to look like it makes sense for you.
Right.
And that's really what's most important, is that it fits for you. So another way to figure out whether you're being deliberate is, was this passed to you? Is this something that was taught to you or given to you in a certain way? And, you know, when you ask yourself these questions, it allows for you to innovate.
Mm-hmm.
So deliberation is actually the seat or the crucible where innovation is grown.
Yes.
You can absolutely take something and make it your own through deliberation. You can also decide not to do it anymore.
Yep. And knowing that even when you aren't consciously making a decision, that's still a decision.
You're always making decisions.
It's still a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to get deliberate about making your choices, because then that way you won't have to suffer consequences that you're not prepared for,
Mm-hmm.
or that you're not expecting, because you know, now I'm doing this deliberately, and you kind of, when you get to that deliberation and you know that this is what you want to achieve, you know what the goal is, it makes it easier, the transition to that
Mm-hmm.
space a lot easier, because you're just not, you know, you're not okay going by what someone else's plan is or how they feel it should be done, and that's a little different than being trained by someone. Then you can, you know, when someone's showing you how to do something, you're watching and learning, and then you can modify it, being deliberate, and make it into your own.
Yeah. And if in the case, even when there's a thing, say with training, if you're being trained to do something and there is no way to modify it, let's just say that there is a strict way that this must be done.
Mm-hmm.
When you're being deliberate, you will do those steps with excellence.
Yes.
Because you are putting yourself inside of the task. You are focused and you're doing it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
On purpose. So having a strong purpose, again, back to our word of the day,
Yes.
the purpose. Why are you doing this? What is this for?
Mm-hmm.
Once you have that very clearly defined, and if you do that for a task, so at the smallest level, when you talk about a purpose for your day, like today I'm doing this and this is my purpose, then it allows you to structure other tasks and subtasks to support the purpose, which is your why. And the why is always tied to a goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is why, because this is the goal. This is your destination, what you want.
Right.
And when you talk about your life in general, this is where defining your own life purpose becomes important. So if you define your life purpose, that means that you can then filter and trickle that down so that all of the things that you're doing in your life are supporting your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that, defining the purpose, always having something that's shining for you to know which direction you're going in, it helps to make life a lot easier.
Right.
Because it makes you one, it gives you responsibility.
Yes.
And two, it allows you to start using the word no a little bit more.
Yes.
Being deliberate allows you to say no to experiences that do not serve your greater purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's the beautiful part of it, because then now everything you're doing, because you're being deliberate, is something that you want to do. It doesn't feel like an obligation, because obligation brings about resentment. And whether it's from family members or friends or whatever, everybody has an agenda, but it doesn't always match up with your own agenda. So you being deliberate will allow you to create your own agenda and create your own circumstances and your own effects from whatever causes that you've put out. And then you won't have to worry about, some unexpected stuff coming up and blowing up the world and you're feeling all like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Because we'll go straight victim on some stuff and not recognize,
poor me.
Right. Oh my God, why is this happening to me? Well, because you made a choice.
You made some choices. And so when you've defined this purpose and you're being deliberate, you'll find yourself constantly dodging bullets.
Yes.
Oh, I dodged a bullet.
You will matrix your way out
of
the Neo,
Matrix?
right? You'll Neo your way out of some stuff.
All the time.
And then look back like, wow.
Because life is like the Matrix in that, there's all this programming happening. And so in the movie it was computer programs, and here it's, societal programs. So we've got society, family, religion, all of these things that are pressing upon you to pull you in one direction or the other, when in reality, if you center yourself, find out your purpose, and seek it relentlessly through all of your actions, it's like a flower that blossoms, and it's blossoming all for one reason.
Right.
Your purpose.
Yeah.
So I think Akiva has another awesome quote from
Mr. Bruce Lee, one of my favorite people in the entire world, says, subconscious mind. He's talking about subconscious mind. And he says, reorganizing the influence of my subconscious mind over my power of will, I shall take care to submit to it a clear and defined picture of my major purpose in life and all minor purposes leading to my major purpose. And I shall keep this picture constantly before my subconscious mind by repeating it daily.
How deliberate is that?
Yes. And that keeps you on task.
Yeah.
That keeps you on task. That eliminates a lot of distractions. And with some things it becomes so second nature, but it takes practice. Just like when we first learned to walk.
Yeah.
If we I didn't get it the first time, I just sat there, nothing would happen. You know what I mean?
I just saw an image of like grown up babies, like people in diapers,
because just sitting there, big,
I couldn't
grown,
potty train.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Just crawling everywhere.
I wasn't even, but even babies are deliberate with what they do. They deliberately cry when they need something.
Yes.
And when they have a goal, hey, Mom, I need you to feed me. I need some hugs and kisses.
Yes.
I need, my diaper changed.
Yes.
Those are deliberate things. And somewhere in that societal conditioning, we kind of lose that. And we lose our trail, and we forget, and we wonder, and then we have all these random thoughts going through, and we think that we're doing things deliberately, but then we're not aware, and we wonder why these are the consequences. It's like because you got so much stuff going on. And if you could just kind of pull it back a little bit and really make clear choices.
Yes. Asking
yourself clear questions. Why am I doing this? Like you said, what is the purpose of that? And they call it on purpose. So what is? They don't say off purpose.
No.
So
yes, on purpose.
It means that there's something happening here.
Yes, absolutely.
That creates going to get me to what my outcome is.
Right. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below.
Yes.
And thank you so much for tuning in and watching us today. Yay. And remember to ask yourself, what are we going to believe now?
Right.